William, thanks very much for your time. How are you?
Yeah, I'm going good, mate. How's things been back at home?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Thank you very much for your time, and it's exciting news for the Races WA. We'll be doing these Zoom calls once a week while you're staying in Melbourne. So that's terrific news on our behalf. So thank you for your time and your cooperation.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Tell you the truth, it's good to fill some time in. I've found myself with plenty of time on my hands over here so far.
So how are you adjusting to that, William? At home, you would normally be very busy with your commitments, riding, and your commitments at home with a young family. So how are you adjusting to life in Melbourne?
It's not too bad. I sleep a lot. Watched quite a few movies and caught up on all my TV shows. So it's starting to drag on a little bit now. So I'll be pretty keen to try and pick up a few more rides and keep busy that way.
Take us through a day. What would a normal day entail for you?
Well, the first sort of few days or week or so was really nothing I could do because I was in self isolation and had to await a COVID test before I could do anything. So the first few days really were like the door was shut and didn't open. Then after that, I was able to get out to the stables after passing a test, and I was able to get out the stables and start riding the horses and get a feel for things that way. So that's where I sort of started off and went out and seen some familiar faces, Grant Williams and a few people out there. So then from there, I've just slowly started exploring the town and having a little bit of a look around. Then I picked up a few rides last week, and so I've got to go a little bit around the countryside, Pakenham and Cranbourne and Sandown.
Well, you take us through how is it in Melbourne from Perth to a large extent that coronavirus hasn't really affected us too much in recent weeks and recent months, and our lives have gone about as normal. In Melbourne, we know the difficulties they are under at the moment in strict lockdown. Are you seeing that are you seeing that effect in Bendigo where you are at the moment?
No, I'm pretty lucky out here in Bendigo at stage 3. So really, apart from people wearing face masks, you couldn't really tell much of a difference. You can definitely feel it in the air. People are a bit concerned and everyone's a bit wary. But yeah, as I said, it's a bit strange having to put a face mask on every time you step outside. But they're the measures that have got to be taken. But I know in Melbourne's a bit less fortunate. They're in full lockdown, similar to what we went through earlier. So I've been a bit lucky that I'm a bit further out, and stage 3 is a lot more relaxed.
And of course, last week there was the scare with Cranbourne, so it's always near us. It's never really far away, is it?
That's right. One mistake or one person gets it can spread everywhere pretty quick, and that's quite a concern for racing and quite a concern for me because at the end of the day, I'm here for these races, and I've got my fingers crossed that nothing happens and we're able to continue.
Well, was it always a fait accompli that you would go through the process and come to Melbourne, notwithstanding the COVID situation? Was there ever a thought in your mind that because of what you have to go through and potentially go through, was there ever a thought in your mind that it's not worth coming across?
Yeah, I tried to consider all options and things like that, but all I ever kept coming back to was well, probably wouldn't get an opportunity like this again. A team of horses that I know with a trainer and crew that I know, and for an owner that I know very well. So um, I tried to think of it from all aspects, and I've obviously got a very comfortable life back home, and a lot of things that I do on the side outside of racing. So they're all things that had to be put on hold. And now that I'm sitting here watching things, that I can't do a few things I'd like to get done at home, it's a little bit annoying, but I know I'm here for a reason, and that was always what lured me here, which is to try and win a Cox Plate or something along those lines.
How much contact do you have with Grant up away from track work and so forth? Are you allowed to catch up and what's been the communication?
I've had I'll go out onto the farm where he's staying to ride track work and that a few times a week, and it varies. I think last week I didn't get out there as often because I had more rides, whereas this week I haven't got as many rides, so I'll get out there more often. So yeah, we catch up for a few hours afterwards, just chat and discuss everything from horses to or whatever our friends might be doing at home. So yeah, that's probably about it really. We just hang around for a few hours after the horses have worked and just chat and yeah, just make sure we're on the same page and then yeah, we're all still focused towards the one goal. So there's not a lot really needs to be said, but we just try and keep each other normal a little bit.
Yeah, man, he's going okay. He's adjusting well.
Yeah, I think he has adjusted well. It has its ups and downs. I think he'll be a lot more comfortable when the horses are racing more regularly. But I think he's done very well, and especially he did exactly the same as me. Like he's had to come from home where he's got his own track and his workers and his wife Alana, who sort of knows the horses inside out, and then comes to a newish track. He was here before, but the conditions are different and a few new horses, so he's got his work cut out for him, and I'm sure he's feeling the pressure.
Are you looking at things back here at home? You're watching the races pretty closely and what's transpiring back here in Perth?
I'll keep a little bit of an eye on them sometimes. If I'm in the mood for it, I'll keep an eye on them, and then other times I haven't looked at all. So a little bit of both. I've kept an eye on some days, and then other days I just didn't bother at all. So bit of hit and miss.
How are you finding the adjustment? Well, in when you go to a race day here in Perth, you've got a full book of rides and your day's pretty busy. Now that you're in Melbourne and you're looking for further rides, you don't obviously have as many rides. Does that take time to adjust on race day for you as well?
It's working out both ways, I guess. It's good. I've only got a few rides, so I can get there, take my time, go out and have a good look at the track, and really sort of get used to my surroundings and things like that. But when it comes to the business end of actually riding, it would be nice to pick up a few more rides and on each individual day. I mean, where you could go around 4, 5, 6 times and really get a feel for everything, whereas just sort of going around once and twice is a little bit harder. Feels like all your eggs are definitely in one basket. But I think it's worked both ways. It's good that it's a bit slower and I can take things in and have a real good look at the tracks and have a good think about what I want to do and how I want to do it. But then, as I said, sometimes you can think too much about all that stuff, and really all you got to do is get on a horse and do what you can do.
Fair enough. And you're seeing a fair bit of Victoria. You're doing a fair bit of travelling, and you've ridden at a few tracks. How are you finding that? How are you finding the travelling?
Yeah, not too bad. Definitely a fair bit of travelling involved. I think 2 hours is probably about as short a trip as I do. If I'm based out here in Bendigo, obviously, and unless I'm racing at Bendigo, it's always a 2-hour drive or more, 2.5 for a couple of times. So going there is pretty easy. You're fresh and you're on your way, but then coming home, that last hour just doesn't ever seem to end. 10 minutes feels like an hour, and then you look and you still got an hour to go, and you're like, geez, what's going on here?
Well, let's look ahead to Caulfield on Saturday. And you must be really looking forward to, obviously, Regal Power in the Memsie Stakes. And obviously, will he take a lot of improvement out of the Lawrence Stakes?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't a very well-run race. The pace was very slow and muddling, and I think he was a bit on the fresh side as well. I expect a sharp improvement, and I still don't think his run was too bad after all was said and done. We raced very upside down, and I definitely a forgive and forget that type of run, and I do expect sharp improvement. His work still feels good. He still feels good. I'll be looking for. There'll definitely be some sort of improvement there, and I think I said, like, once he races and settles in to a bit more of a racing pattern, he'll keep improving too.
Looking forward to Superstorm, getting back on Superstorm?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't sat on him very much. He was always a little bit further behind the others work-wise, so I didn't sit on him much before he left to come over here. And I haven't sat on him much here either. I've always worked with him, always been on the horse that's been his partner. So it'll be nice to get on his back and have a good feel of him again. He's got a lot of potential there, as everyone knows, and it'll be exciting to see if he's been able to raise the bar with his let up that he's had and come back with another go.
And what about Katie Quinn? I thought her run first up in the Lawrence Stakes was really, really credible. How has she come on since?
Yeah, I think she's come on very well. She feels good. She's absolutely lovely feel of a horse. She's huge. She's long, and whenever you ride in her pace work, you got to be careful that you actually go slow enough, because she does it so effortless. She feels like you feel like you're doing a real slow canter, but actually you're going quite quick. So she's very tricky, and you always got to keep in mind that what speed you're going on her. She's come along good. I can't knock her at all. Hopefully not too good, because I'm her competition on Saturday.
Yeah. Also, not only Bob and Sandra Peters' horses, you must be really excited too with the connection that you've made with the owners of Shaboo, and the opportunity of riding Shaboo leading up towards the Melbourne Cup. That must really, really excite you. Apart from all of Bob and Sandra horses, Shaboo must really be one that you're really keen to get aboard and make that connection with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good that he's got a good WA connection there, and it was great that I was able to get considered for the ride and been given an opportunity, so that's great. I got to sit on him in a piece of work on the grass at Bendigo. He's a monster of a horse as well. He's huge. He's a big boy, but he feels great. He floats across the ground. His work was nice. He was in a race Saturday that was abandoned at Moonee Valley, so I didn't get to sit on him yet. He's in again this Saturday coming.
Yeah.
I expect him to run well. I like the feel that he gave me in that piece of work.
Have you been out at Macedon Lodge yet?
I haven't been. No. We've sort of had plans to go out and meet and things like that, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. So, but it will do while I'm here. There's plenty of time, and they tell me it's a marvellous setup, so I'm pretty keen to go out and have a look. Yeah,
they describe it as horse heaven.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll get out there and have a look when we get the opportunity, and hopefully it's when we're discussing Shabao's win.
Yeah,
after
exactly.
Saturday.
Next week, that'll be. Look forward to that. What about last week at Moonee Valley when you had the ride on Windstorm and the meeting was abandoned? Take us through the day and your thoughts and feelings.
Well, it's a pretty long drive. I think I said it's a 2-hour drive, so the weather was actually good here in Bendigo when I left. It's not too bad. And then I got about halfway to the city, or 2/3 the way to the city, and it just started raining and wouldn't stop. It wasn't even like passing heavy showers. It was just constant heavy rain. I was a bit concerned about that. I thought, the valley on a heavy track. Well, it was already heavy. We knew it was going to be heavy, but then after seeing that rain, it was like, this really is going to be heavy. Got there and it just wouldn't stop raining. My previous ride had been scratched, I think, with the downgrade of the track, and then I got news again later that Shabao was scratched because of the downgrade of the track. So everything was left on Windstorm's back, and then weighed out for the race, had to saddle out on the rack and went back in, and they come back in, and the races were abandoned. So it was all a big build up and not much come of it. So back in the car for my 2-hour drive home.
What's the jockeys room like? What's in here? You're the king of WA. What's it like when you walk into the jockeys room in Melbourne? How do you feel?
Oh, yeah, pretty good. Everyone's a good group. Everyone's good. No one's how would you say, mean or rude or anything like that. Everyone's a professional. Quite a few of them go out of their way to say hello, and which is nice. But we're all segregated at the moment into different groups. So I think you've got gold and green teams. So a lot of the guys aren't there, and so it's a little bit broken up. And I think a couple of them we've been sort of in, up in the grandstand in members areas and not in a jockey's room as such. So everything's a little bit upside down. But as far as everyone gone, I have no issues at all walking in like I should be there, and plenty of the guys are nice enough and friendly enough and always willing to have a chat or pass some advice about the track or about just about anything, really.
And you picked up a ride from Andrew Nobbett. I think we're due in the Heatherley for Caulfield on Saturday. And I know you got a good book of rides at Sale on Sunday for Trent Bussard and Natalie Young. And so you're making some good connections. The longer you're there, you're making those connections.
That's right, yeah. I've been very lucky. I've picked up some nice rides, and there's still been some good support there for me as well. So I've got to try and make the most of that. I'm back to being an apprentice again, I guess. Got to get out there and try and reward that support with wins. So That's my challenge at the moment. And some I've got right and some I've got wrong. So I've got to just keep challenging myself to keep bringing my best and try and get the job done.
Oh, terrific. Well, you're really looking forward to our chats each week, and I hope our viewers and our listeners too can enjoy an insight into you and how you're travelling in Melbourne and how you're doing. And by the sounds of things, you seem pretty relaxed and you seem well adjusted, and perhaps just a touch of boredom is the biggest issue that's facing you.
Yeah, that's probably about right. Just can't wait to get the ball rolling and see where we're at when you're in the wash up. So right now we've got all grand plans and hopes and aspirations, but I want race day to come around and see where we really stand, and want our chance to see if we can get the job done. That's sort of where I'm at, and
terrific.
Yeah, exactly. Just
you get that opportunity on Saturday.
That's right. So Saturday's got quite a few rides to see what I've got and what I can produce. So hopefully I can produce something good.
No, you normally do, Willie, and we can bank on that. Again, thanks for your time, Willie, and look forward to chatting to you next week on the back of a couple of winners at Caulfield on the weekend.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Good to catch up.